Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Pamela, and you are watching Pam Entertainment TV, where we review movies, television series, and incidents in pop cultures. Today, we're doing celebrity legal news. As you know and continue to follow, I am following the ASAP Rocky shooting trial. This is an overview of day 2 of that trial. So bear with me again. Housekeeping, y'all hit that like button. And if you like what you see, subscribe. And once you subscribe, you'll be open to movies and television reviews that I've done, my pop culture chats, and my review of celebrity legal issues. All right, let's get into it. Let's add to the stage here. This is the ASAP Rocky shooting trial, day 2. We're still in the prosecution's case, and we're going to do a recap. So, as we got into yesterday, there were several pretrial motions, and we're going to review some of them. But the two things that came up that were quite relevant was the fact that the judge imposed a gag order on both the prosecution and the defense that they won't be able to try this case in the media. So he has imposed a gag order. The second thing that was more prominent in here is baby. The prosecution and the defense was about to squabble up, squabble up. So the prosecution got upset that he felt like the defense attorney was talking to him greasy. He was talking to him being very rough and being quite harsh, and he wanted the judge to admonish him. So let's go into both of those things. They're going to come up. It's going to be probably about 5 or 10 minutes of information being told, but I do definitely want you all to see and listen to this mess. One moment. All right, I think I got it queued up to where I need to have it queued up. Let's go.
To approach. When we asked to approach, he said he wanted to do it on the record. On the record. But outside the press, he then complains about jury selection, about a specific juror, etc. We are not going to participate in Mr. Tapapina's attempts to manipulate the media. Again, that ties into the fact that when the case started, I very kindly said to Mr. Tapapina, hey, listen, I know you've been speaking to the media before trial. There was no worry of every right. Are you going to be saying anything once the trial started? He assured me in front of my co-counsel, the response was, John, I would never do that. I won't be saying anything to the press. Meantime, he is speaking, I already sent the court this, he's speaking to TMZ, he likes to say things to the press as he leaves the building. We took him at his word that he wasn't going to be talking to the press while the pendency of this trial was going on. This is necessity. As an example, we ended up hearing his arguments basically about the jury issues repeated by Al Sharpton. We're not going to try this case in the press. We're going to ask the court at this point to order Mr. Tapapina to not speak to the press during the pendency of this trial.
Okay, I guess I'll start in reverse. First of all, I'd like him to provide a quote of what I said to the press, because one thing I've never done is speak about the facts of this case since the jury's been out. Never. Okay? But I do have here a quote from the district attorney, Mr. HOTLINE, who did quote to Extra that he appreciates any time defense counsel is pretty sure they're going to prevail, but we don't bring cases unless we're very sure we can win those cases by establishing and meeting our burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. I believe that when we see the evidence that's going to be presented in this case, we'll meet that burden. So that's their district attorney. Okay? So I should be able to rebut something like that. That's different. That's saying we're going to win the case, we know the evidence, and we'll meet our burden. I talked about nothing other than the potential issues with the jury. I didn't speak about the facts, I didn't speak about Mr. Efron. And I won't do that. Now, the last thing he said was I spoke to TMZ. Again, I defied him to provide to the court what I spoke about, because I didn't violate any order. First of all, there's no order. But I certainly, I know enough not to speak about the facts of the case. By the way, I didn't open a statement to the jury. Certainly, I would never say anything outside of that opening statement, but I didn't even do that, Your Honor. I simply talked about the issue with the jury. And the reason I did that is because he just did again what he did the other day. stood up and said, we're not happy with this jury. Try and get that message back to the jury that we're not happy with them. That is not the case. But, Your Honor, the reason I raised the issue about maybe we would have selected a different jury, or certainly a different juror or two, is because of the late disclosure of the ballistics report after a jury was impaneled. And we have a right to make that record. It doesn't mean I'm unhappy with the jury. So, speaking of disingenuous, we're going to now get into disingenuous. But I did nothing but protect the record, protect my client. So that's first and foremost. So again, the issue that I spoke about off the record was caused by their late disclosure of a report that was generated over a year ago by their lead detective in this case. That Mr. Lewin wants everyone to believe he just stumbled upon 3 days ago.
Now, I do want to say here is that ASAP Rocky's attorney, I think it's Mr. Capicoli. I hope I said that correctly. He's a New Yorker, so he is very animated and he'll get loud after a minute. I don't know if that's I don't know where the prosecution is from, but I clearly understand or can see why he gets the way he gets. So let's just continue.
He just stumbled upon 3 days ago.
You don't have to whisper, just talk.
Try to get that middle ground there.
Just talk in the normal tone of voice.
That he just stumbled upon 3 days ago. He made all these accusations about that's disingenuous. I don't believe it. Well, I don't believe that they just found that report from their lead detective who they interacted on a daily basis in this case 3 days ago. I don't believe it. That was done in January 2020.
I already made findings.
I understand.
In my view, nothing nefarious. I don't want to go over things that we've already gone over.
Well, we just did. We still have to do it.
He's asking that that both sides be directed not to make comments to the press. That's what he's asking for now. I'm not poking fingers. I'm not accusing anybody of any unethical conduct. Let's just move forward. Here's what I want to have.
I have more things.
Oh, go ahead.
All right, I just listened.
Go.
Now, we heard all about the discovery issues about, this not being enough. I mean, I think this is incredibly detailed when it comes to Mr. Phillips, especially if this is a videotape. This is really detailed. Tell us what he's going to observe at the scene, what he's going to testify to, what he observed at the scene. Putting that aside.
Based on what I've heard, I am satisfied under the circumstances that both sides have satisfied this discovery rule. So there's no reason to go over about whether you have complied with discovery. I already found that you did.
Okay, now I want to talk about Ben. There was a police officer, the first one out of the box, Sergeant Zizzo.
Right.
The only thing we have from them, because I assume the rules apply to both sides, right? The only thing we have from them is a few-line email saying we spoke to him on Wednesday. He testified Friday before. We spoke to him on Wednesday, and Jack, you have these emails?
And just to say, what we found out about Officer Zizzo, he was the sergeant that came out to the scene after the 911 call. Side note, we find out that Officer Zizzo's mother was one of the ladies that played on the Housewives of
Here's what we have from them on Officer Zizzo. That they spoke to him on Wednesday, which they also denied on the witness stand, by the way. He said the first time he spoke to him on substance was the debate of his testimony. He said that he advised the district attorney that he responded to the shooting while on patrol, and it's common occurrence that the receiver called the shooting and respond only either to find no evidence or the victim, but also sometimes find out whoever called was intentionally misrepresenting. 2 sentences. That's the discovery. He testified that 1, he may have missed the bullet casings, and 2, he didn't know where to look. 2 sort of important things and he didn't agree, he didn't search the entire street. That was not in their disclosure. Not their disclosure at all. But yet I'm being accused of not giving them the right information. First of all, I don't have the date. There's nothing in their disclosure that they interviewed private before.
So basically what he's saying is that the Officer Zizzo stated that he didn't find any cases because he didn't know where to look. They didn't search the whole street. So they're talking about discovery. Uh, I am not a lawyer, so I'm not in on the ins and outs of it all. But let's continue.
Testimony. We don't even have that interview. We don't have that date. We have Wednesday only. The witness said, no, I didn't speak to him on Wednesday. So that was just about logistics. Okay, so before we start casting aspersions, I wasn't going to even raise it, Mark. Just happened. I understand this is trial. But, being that we're now throwing stones, let's hold the kettle black.
Let's not throw stones.
Well, I know, but they started. So I'm going to respond.
This is a no squabbling zone.
Oh, after he swallows. Well, I'm swallowing back.
Well, you're a good squabble.
The judge said this is a The judge said this is a no squabbling zone. He said, oh, after he starts squabbling, I'm squabbling back, baby. Squabble up, squabble up, squabble up.
You're doing a good job squabbling. All right. Regarding what Sergeant Zizzo testified, did he write a report?
He did not write a report, Your Honor. But he obviously body worn video.
That's been provided.
That was provided.
All right.
Years ago.
You're an experienced attorney. All of you are experienced attorneys. Sometimes, a witness will say something that is not in a report. That's to be expected. A report is a summary, a sum and substance of what the witness said. It's much more fleshed out when the witness is on the stand.
Well, I agree with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not even going to raise the fact that he said he didn't speak to him on Wednesday and he almost spoke to him. I don't do that. It's petty.
It is petty.
But I want to make sure that what's good for the goose is good for the gander. That when Mr. Phillips testifies and he says something, a word that's not in this thing, it's not like, you didn't tell that to the lawyers. It's just not right. This is not a transcribed statement. There will be nothing outside the scope of this. But the same way I didn't get anything from them regarding, I may have missed the shell cases. I didn't get a report that said that or a statement.
Again, to be repetitious, I do not find either side has violated any discovery statute or any discovery rule. Regarding the press, the jury has been told not to read or watch anything about this case. I'm going to assume that they followed that rule. But what I am concerned about is someone that the jury knows is going to read or watch something about the case and then relate it to the jury. So here's the rule. I don't want any attorney in this case saying anything to the press while the case is going on. That's it. So you can call it a gag order.
We will advise, obviously, of course, where we've said nothing. We will advise the DA as well. To be clear, the DA responded to Mr. Tappa's published report where he dared, quote, Nathan Hotlin can try the case himself.
So you heard the judge. He issued a gag order for the prosecution and for the defense, and they're not to talk to anybody in the press. No one. So let's continue. We had a couple of other pre-trial motions. However, we got into this one, which was a little crazy, a little odd. And I talked about it before, that the prosecution mentioned that he was upset with how the defense attorney was approaching him. So let's see if we could pull that up really, really quick. And let's make this a little bit big. I'm going to make myself a little smaller. All right. So it's still in the same vein of everything, but I did want to come back and give some commentary in regards to it. Let's go.
Let's move forward. Yeah, just let everybody know in your office who may say something, tell them not to say anything to the media or the press.
Will do, Your Honor. We have experience before.
Hold on, I'm going to go back a little bit because I got to.
Again, Your Honor, I've not interrupted Mr. Tappa's line. As I speak, Mr. Tappa's makes noises. Again, if there's got to be a certain decorum, we're following it. can't bring a knife to a gunfight. So we would appreciate, as the court is respectfully instructed, when one lawyer is talking, the other lawyer not interrupt. Mr. Capina, as court is aware, started literally screaming at me in the courtroom. He basically appeared to challenge me to a fight. And
Baby, the prosecution said that the defense attorney challenged him to fight. Look at ASAP Rocky's face. He like, what? Hold on. Look at ASAP Rocky's face. He's looking like a fight. Baby, the prosecution said that this attorney challenged him to a fight. Let's continue, y'all. Let's continue.
again, I've been doing this longer than he has. I've not had that experience occur before. I'm not going to be treated that way by anybody. I'm certainly not going to be treated that way in a court where I practiced for more than 30 years and in front of a judge I deeply respect. He doesn't have to like me, he doesn't have to get along with me, but he cannot be screaming at me, whether on or off the record. The court was here. The court, I mean, everyone heard and saw it. It's not right. So I'm just asking that the court, again, Ms. Jack is an emotional guy, that the court advises.
And you are, both of you are,
He said the defense attorney is an emotional guy, and I can't have him swimming me because he tried to squabble up. Said this had me rolling. I looked and I was, again, yesterday was my very first stream to just like streaming these things. But I looked and I listened and I was like, this man is talking about squabbling up with this guy. So that to me was the issue. The judge basically told them about having some decorum, and we're going to continue with that. But I thought that was so funny. But we're going to let, as I've let the prosecution speak, we're definitely going to let the defense be able to defend his or her name.
zealous attorneys, aggressive attorneys, both of you are.
We are due to zealous aggressiveness. The court has not heard of me yell or scream at anybody. And again, and it's not a request. I'm not going to take that.
All right, why don't we do this? I did not hear you yell. I did not hear it. If it did happen, it wasn't in my presence. Because you two have this relationship, why don't you not talk to each other unless it's on the record?
Oh, that's,
And then I am involved.
that train is sales. Yes, absolutely, I agree with that. But I want to respond now, because, I can't have it always one way. He makes a record disparaging remarks, and then I got to sit here. So no one screamed. You were right there, Your Honor. What's happened, and Mr. Siegel was with me, is Mr. Lewin comes up with his whole scolding, sort of bullying attitude, telling me we don't know the rules here, and we're not doing this right, and he didn't like the opening statement, and so on and so forth. So I responded. I don't need a lecture from him, okay? I'm not going to go into the amount of phone calls I got regarding him and his reputation before this trial started, from lawyers I don't even know, including lawyers inside the district attorney's office currently, okay? I'm not going to go into it, Your Honor. I'm not petty.
No, and now you're interrupting him. Just that, you were complaining about him interrupting you, you're interrupting him. Don't.
Children.
I just don't want to do that, but please, there was no one yelling, you were right here. There was an argument between both sides, both of us, I agree. And that's not going to happen because I'm not going to speak to get off the record. So you're right about that. That's number one. Number two, I have to also raise an issue, and I'm not past that. I don't want to even talk about that. Your Honor was here. That's the end of that. Mr. Lewin did something last week that was inappropriate. The reason I'm raising it is because I don't want it to happen again. This week, Mr. Mayor.
What he's raising is the fact that he says that the prosecution talked with the ASAP Rocky's family about him not taking the plea deal. And so let me let him continue.
If you know, may appear here. Last week, Mr. Lewin his playbook apparently from the lawyers went up to my client's family and told my client's family that's not personal, but they should really, hopefully, he's really thought about taking a plea because he's facing a lot of jail time. and saying things that played on the emotions of the family. He should have no communication with the defendant's family. I've heard.
So I'm gonna leave it there because we're gonna keep moving on. But that was basically what was going on. That he had an issue and a problem with him talking with the family. So let me move on. I've got to get my time step completed. All right. So as we continue, Sergeant Zizzo was on the stand. He concluded his uh, testimony. Nothing big or anything like that, other than the fact that, you know, he didn't find no bullets when he was there. He didn't know where to look, yada, yada, yada. So let's continue on. So here we have Miss Martin Mount Brown. And yesterday I couldn't figure out what her name was, but it was Leah Elizabeth Martin Brown. Now, who is she? Now, she is the young lady that called 911 after, because, you know, there was the first scene of them, ASAP Rocky, ASAP Lily, ASAP 12E, and ASAP Ills. They were at the parking garage structure. She saw them have a little altercation. She didn't see a gun or anything at that point because she said that the park they went into the parking structure, so that obscured her view. But she did see them arguing. She did see them go around the corner, and I will tell you that her building is right across from the parking structure, and that she was on the 7th floor. So she was able to look down, and she was high enough to be able to look over the top of the parking structure to see beyond that back street back there the where she described that they were back. They went they left the parking structure, they went around the corner, and then they started. In her words, the vibe changed. Now she did admit that she was smoking a little, so she just, she saw what she saw. She was a little she was a little high, but that's okay. But she did mention that she did see the person in the black hoodie shoot a gun 2 times. She saw that they dispersed. She said somebody went up under the car. She didn't know. She didn't see any more people after that. People took off running. She called the police because she did not. She thought maybe if someone was hurt, they needed an ambulance. So she called the police. She did not speak to the police officers or anything afterwards because she said she did not want to get involved after the police called her back to kind of get some more information. So she's taking the stand and describing what she saw a couple of years ago. I'll just give you a piece of her. We're not going to get too far into it. Let's just hear her speak a little bit.
High enough that you can see over the buildings there that are at the northeast corner of Argyle.
Correct. Sorry. Ask the court, please. Mind the leading a little bit right there.
You know, people's position is it's foundational.
Not the last question.
So,
Read the last question. Please.
Okay, so from the 7th floor, you were up high enough that you could see over the buildings that are at the northeast corner of Argyle and Selma, correct?
Sustained.
All right. Like I said, we're not going to spend too much time with her. And I just wanted to show that she was the person that called. She was the next witness. So our last witness who got on the stand is the victim, ASAP Rocky. So he established a lot of the foundation of who he was, how him and ASAP Rocky met. He did state that they had been friends since high school. They established the ASAP Collective, and it's just a bunch of guys with different talents. What is it? I can't remember what the the ASAP stands for off the top of my head, but he did talk about that. He also established why he was here, uh, who he was friends with, who he wasn't friends with. He'll definitely get back on the stand to establish some more things. But I did want to get you to listen to him, because one of the things that for me with ASAP Rally is that his testimony, you can tell that he's leaving something out, a lot of stuff out, which is quite confusing to me. So when he says things, he'll say like, some we need to be standing on business, or he needed to have read the room. Why are people reading the room? What are you talking about? So I just want to give you an overview of some of the way he was speaking.
EPHROM.
It's a very single no session. I'll try to speak into the microphone. All right, Mr. Loman, the floor is yours.
He did think that he was a little nervous.
Say yes.
Yes.
How would you, put it in your own words, how would you describe your relationship with Toby prior to the incident?
I mean, there was never no problems, but I never wasn't that cool and like we really didn't interact that much.
Would you,
He wasn't like
somewhere?
He came kind of like later, so like I really wasn't like chilling with him or chilling with anybody who came after the fact. It was ASAP.
Okay. So what you're describing is kind of you and the defendant and Hills had known each other longer, and then 12B came after that core group was formed.
Yeah, so me, Jabari, Hills, and Rocky pretty much started ASAP.
Okay.
Everybody else who came after, if they wasn't like genuinely like trying to better themselves or do something other than like fooling around, kind of distance myself.
Okay.
All right. I don't want to get into long because I don't want to keep this long, but he just basically talked about how they knew, and he talked about how this incident happened. He says that he was in California because he was working with one of his artists. Now we could never get the established how how did you know that ASAP Rocky was there? Or how did ASAP Rocky know that you were there? I never could get that information, but apparently he was on the phone with another member. ASAP Rocky called a friend of his. He was in the car. ASAP Rocky said something to the effect that he didn't fuck with this nigga, and he heard them. He said that he didn't think that there was any beef. He didn't think that there was anything wrong. He didn't know why ASAP Rocky was acting that way. Now, again, that's him on the stand. And if you're someone like, because we're jurors, we're listening to all the information, there's some stuff left out. And what was left out was the fact that the reason why that they were beefing or there was issues and problems is because ASAP Josh died, and ASAP Rocky said that he was going to help the family pay for the funeral. The money didn't come as quickly as I guess the family wanted it to be. I think the family was talking to ASAP Relly about it. ASAP Relly was talking and yanging at the mouth and talking about Rocky and all of this other stuff, going back and forth. Now, I'm paraphrasing. I wasn't there. I don't know. But that was the issue and the problem. ASAP Rocky did eventually pay for it. But I think ASAP Rocky felt like ASAP really was putting himself in a position that he should not have been. It wasn't his. If ASAP Rocky made the agreement with ASAP Josh's family that ASAP Rocky was going to pay for the funeral, I believe ASAP Rocky felt like ASAP really had no business being in the middle of all that, inserting himself in some stuff like that. So they had that type of beef going on, and they possibly had some other things going on. But when he was on the stand, he was trying to bear light up, like he didn't know why ASAP Rocky didn't like him or anything like that. So we're just gonna get back to Third day of testimony starts today. I will be following it, but I did want to do this recap for you all. What did you think? How do you think so far? Go to my community page. There is a poll. If you've been following this trial from the information that you've seen so far, and here we're getting into the third day, and the poll is still up. Do you think ASAP Rocky is guilty, or do you think that he is not guilty? Now, mind you, the defense have not put on their case yet, so we will see what's going to happen with this. All right, people. Again, thank you so much for rocking with me. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And this was just my recap of the ASAP Rocky trial, just second day. And again, I'm going to do this recap for tomorrow for the ASAP Rocky. I will recap tomorrow, today, which is going to be day 3 of the trial. So y'all look forward to that. All right, people. And please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye-bye.